Welcome to the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, and this is the place to get all the information on what's going on inside the athletic department at NAIA Kokomo. And joining us today, it's a different face, or a couple different faces than normal. Grant's not with us today. We have Bryce Stateler to my far right. He's a junior. He is one of the 6 qualifiers, marathon qualifiers at IUK. Then also to my nearest right, it is Kyle Thibodeau from Hanover Central up in the region. Kyle, your first time here. Bryce, you've been here before. Did Bryce give you any tips about coming on the show?
Not really. I mean, it's just go with the flow, really.
Bryce, you had one job, man. Help him out.
My bad.
So since you're the newcomer, we're going to start with you first. What does it mean to qualify to run the marathon this year?
I mean, it means a lot. If you had told me like 12 months ago that I'd be running a marathon, qualify for it, I'd call you crazy. But it means a lot. It means a lot to this program and shows the growth of 6 qualifiers qualifying for it.
Same thing. What does it mean for you to be running in this race?
Well, I've always thought about running a marathon. It never really crossed my mind where and when. But once I was brought the idea from Colvin about the national marathon and competing like out in Sacramento, I was like, sign my name up. I was like, sign me up so fast.
So what do you have to do to qualify for it?
So what we did was 2-hour runs, two 2-hour runs. So your pace off of those 2-hour runs, so basically how far you get in 2 hours, helps tell you where you're at and if you qualified or not. So we did have a couple scares on the team from not making it. It was a really close one, but everybody thankfully got it in. So
were those runs tough? That sounds really grueling for most people watching this right now. They're like 2-hour runs. If you stopped at one 2-hour run, people would be like, okay, that's crazy. Then you say 2 separate 2-hour runs. They're like, these people are insane. What was that like for you?
I mean, I think as myself as a long distance, like the more miles I put on my feet, like as it goes on, like I hit mile 2, mile 10, I get better with mileage. So like, 1.5 hours in, I was like, how much do I have left?
Yeah.
But overall, I think it was as best as I can ask for.
Now, have you ran a marathon before?
No, I've not. Not even a half.
Not even a half?
I've ran a half, but I haven't competed in a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm always curious about people, if they've done it or not. We talked to a couple of girls last week that had not ran in one. They also had never been on a plane. So that's another reason why I was like, oh, you have a big meet, big race, and you've never been on a plane. Have either of you guys been on a plane before?
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Have you?
I went to Cali for my brother's Marine Corps graduation.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I have.
And you have too?
Yeah, I went for Decade Internationals in Atlanta, Georgia. So
That's not a far flight.
it's still a flight, though.
It is
still a flight.
It is still a flight. Are you nervous about the flight to California?
No, I think everything's going to go all right.
Okay. I know
gracious.
I'm used to the 2-hour flights here to Atlanta or here to Tampa or Orlando, something like that. When it becomes to like 3.5, 4 hours, that's where I'm like, okay, I'll take a nap. How much time we got? 2.5 hours left. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? 2.5 hours? What will you guys do to entertain yourselves on this flight?
I mean, I might take books, like just to read or just like listen to music / movies, just like control the vibe.
What kind of music?
I don't know, like rock is fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to free flow it. So I got my seat moved next to Caleb Vogl on the plane. And we're just going to see what goes on from there.
That sounds kind of scary.
It's going to be fun, though. That's all that matters.
Will anybody start karaoke at all?
Don't get me started on that. I will.
mean, you can get the whole plane going.
Oh, yeah.
The stewardess and everything. They're like, oh, you want to go with the whole plane? We can just get to going over the speakers.
Hey, I won't stop them. I'll get in the middle of that.
What's your go-to song?
Ooh, there's so many, but it's got to be like Enchanted by Taylor Swift. That'd be my go-to right there.
You're a Swiftie.
Not like the biggest Swiftie, but yeah, I mean, I'll listen to Taylor Swift every now and then.
Interesting. That was not something I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Did you go to the concert when she was in Indianapolis?
I helped work it, but I went to her concert last year in Chicago. Well, 2 years ago in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So was that before the Eras Tour? I don't know how.
That was the start of the Eras Tour.
Oh, so you got to be a part of all the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to see all of them. They were good.
What was your biggest memory from that?
Oh, just in general being there. Like,
Okay.
just seeing everybody in there and how filled the stadium was
Yeah.
and how it was shaking. It was something different.
I did not guess you would be a Swiftie. Not at all. Did you? Did you know that he liked?
I did. By like months into when he came here. Pretty obvious. I don't know.
Kyle, let's go back to you and not talk about Taylor Swift anymore. What are your goals for the marathon or just goals in general on the team?
Not running a marathon yet. It's gonna be hard. So I mean, I do want to do well as a team as a whole.
Yeah.
Like it means something to be here, but it also means something to like put the effort in and like prove that you belong there. So I think doing well as a team, but also myself, I like to be like in the under 3 hour range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bryce, what are some goals you have?
For the marathon, my goal is a 2:28,
Okay.
which is going to be really, really difficult.
Yeah.
It's like a 5:43 mile pace, which I don't know if I can do, but that's my main goal. Team-wise, I'd love to like get all those boys up there with me because top 3 is All-American for teams. So if we can somehow pull it out, that'd be amazing.
Sounds like you have a belief that that's possible.
I always have a belief in this team.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Sounds like the dynamic of the team is pretty well. I've seen you before with other members of the team, and then seeing the team today. There's some members that have been here. It seems like the dynamic of the team is it's a unified group. Is that a good way to say?
Yeah. I like to think of everybody as like a brotherhood. We all get along together. We all love each other to an extent, obviously. But I feel like we're like family at the end of the day.
Last thing here for you. What are some things you'll be saying as you're running to help you continue throughout the race? Bryce, you first, and then Kyle.
Well, I know I'm gonna get tired halfway through it. So like as soon as I get tired, I'm gonna be like, gotta go faster so I can get done faster, you know? You gotta think of how to get this done quicker. There's no stopping. There's no stopping until you get that across that line. So just be like, take those strides, take that length. It's two.
I mean, I don't know if I was saying much. I know I think a lot during races, so maybe just push through. I will be thinking a lot about the community back home.
Yeah.
Just to give back and have something like they can watch and be a part of.
I really appreciate Bryce and Kyle for coming on the show. And coming up next, there are 2 more marathon qualifiers that will be joining us to talk about what it means for them to run in the NAIA Marathon Classic. As the Cougar Cast rolls on, I'd like to welcome into the show the final 2 qualifiers at IUK that have qualified to run in the marathon this year. To my far right, it is a Greentown kid, Caleb Vogl, and to my right next to me, Luis Saldana.
It's Luis.
Luis.
Yep.
I knew I was going to butcher somebody's name, and it's the last name here, from New Haven High School. Let's start with Caleb first, because I could say that name correctly. Caleb, what does it mean to qualify for the marathon?
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. Going into college, I always thought it'd be cool to have the opportunity to compete at the national level, and I'm finally getting the opportunity to do it and put a show on for Kokomo.
Luis, same thing. What does it mean for you to qualify and run to the marathon?
Yeah, feels nice. It's not my first rodeo. Done this last year, and I'm honestly excited to go again. It's really fun, great trip, and I'm excited to do another one.
So you went last year?
Yeah.
What was that trip like?
It was cool. It was nice. There were quite some events that had happened last year, but it was kind of fun.
I wasn't sure if you're going to bring up those events or not. I heard about some stuff that happened. I don't want to dive into any details that I know you were there.
Yeah. Well, some of my teammates from last year, they got their stuff stolen. They broke into our vehicle and they took their stuff, and one of them had a mental breakdown. But yeah, I mean,
That is tough.
It was tough, but we all had fun at the end of the day. We all had fun. It was a great time.
What were some of the highlights of that trip?
Ooh, definitely In-N-Out. I never had In-N-Out, so that was one of the greatest things that I've had, at least, or kind of burgers that I've had since I never
One of the
really had
greatest
it.
burgers you've ever had.
Oh man, they were so good. Yeah, I can't
Wild
wait. Yeah,
statement to be just making out loud.
dude, man, I'll
you.
say it again. I say it proudly,
Into the camera.
proudly.
One of the greatest burgers you've ever had.
Well, at least to my opinion. I mean,
yeah, no.
I mean, I'm sure there's better things out there. It's just from not being in the West and just having McDonald's and Burger King, that that simple stuff.
Yeah.
Just trying something new, just like brings a spark out.
So if you were ranking the top 3 burgers at restaurants, I'm assuming
man.
In-N-Out's number 1. What's number 2? And I could be wrong. You may say In-N-Out's number 2. But when you say it's the greatest, I assume it's number 1.
Well, I'd say the greatest so far. I'm not
Okay.
sure if there's anything that I haven't tried. But I'd put it in my top 5.
Okay.
It's up there. I don't necessarily have a number 1 yet,
Okay.
but I'd say it could be one of the top.
What else
Top
is in the
5.
mix if it being in that top 5?
Honestly, man, I'd like to go way back, man. Like B-Dubs used to have this jalapeno burger, man. It was so good. It had jalapenos in it, and it's just good cheese, man. The burger was so good, but they discontinue it, so it's almost man, it's yeah, it's
Lost
just
gem.
yeah, it's like a lost gem, but it's all right. Honestly, maybe Red Robin's. Red Robin's has some good stuff,
Yum.
Maybe yum,
Yeah.
very yum. I just probably top 3 almost.
We're on the topic
Yeah.
of food. We went from running
Yeah,
to
sorry.
food. So no, don't apologize, please. This is what we do. We're talking about hamburgers or burgers that you've liked. What are some of the best ones you've had?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a very basic person. My favorite burger is the Big Buford at Rally's. I am a huge
Hey.
fan of Rally's.
Big Buford. I don't really eat rallies that much anymore. It messes with my stomach. But when I did, the Big Buford was up there as being one of the better ones.
Oh, I put Big Buford above everything. I don't think anything compares to I'm a big you put a lot of grease in there and you put a lot of grease on those fries, you're gonna have a satisfied customer in me. So
Just wait till you try In-N-Out.
So what kind of food do you eat?
I'm a big pasta guy.
Okay.
I also am big into having steak.
Yeah.
The guys like to make jokes because I like to go and make a bunch of salmon because we have fresh salmon at our house. So
Dude,
love just any protein basically.
you're speaking my language. I love salmon, man. I love it.
If I see it on a menu, most of the time I'm picking that up. It's one of the
kinda
best things
guy.
to get.
That's my kind of guy. No, I love salmon. You're probably going to be able to get some good salmon out there on the West Coast too.
I'd like to think, yeah, you can get some good fresh salmon. We have a bunch of fresh salmon up from Michigan that my dad caught this year and that we've just brought home. We have giant 12, 16-inch fillets just ready to go at all times.
So you're the pitch man for In-N-Out right now, and you're trying to talk him into getting In-N-Out for the first time. What's your pitch to him to have him try and eat In-N-Out?
Dude, it's a life changer, man. At least in my opinion, I can't speak for everybody, but I guess just considering that I never really went out and ate like that, at least with my parents, because my parents are very basic. They don't really like to go out and eat burgers or anything.
Yeah.
So trying burgers or just new places, it's like a luxury for me. It's I never really have it. So just honestly, I've tried it. He should take my word for it. It's good. He can dislike it or not, but I'll still say it's really good, man.
Caleb, what is let's get back on track here. We can be talking about food
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
Caleb, what has Josh Colvin's impact been on you since you've been here at IUK?
Yeah, he talked to me coming out of the mechanical invite. I just finished in my junior year, and he was like, hey, I'd like to talk to you about the opportunity to possibly come and run in college. So I reached out to him right away. It came down to basically 3 schools, and IUK was a top priority. I love that's an affordable place for me to go and get
Yeah.
a good education. Basically get to stay at home, just overall amazing education as well. He's had a huge impact in pushing me to be the best athlete I can be. It's nice to have a coach that truly believes in my abilities. I've had coaches in the past that tell you oh, you're limited and how much you can do. But he pushed me past that boundary, and now I feel like I'm the runner I truly can be.
So when you're out there and you're running, what kind of things pop into your head possibly that he says before the race that helped you during the race?
Don't let anybody outkick you.
Okay.
One meet specifically has been like, I've seen you get outkicked too many times. Don't let it happen. And that's the meet that I finally was like, it clicked.
Yeah.
I passed 16 people going to the finish line. I don't like to be outkicked ever since. So
I like that. I like that. What has Colvin's impact been on you since you've been here?
Yeah, it's been pretty big. I guess I could say, like, one of the girls from last week, they said that he's like a father figure almost, since I'm away from home, considering that I live almost like 2 hours away. So he's been like a father figure. He's made a huge impact. He's helped me. He's always has encouraged me to be a better runner as I can. And, I guess in high school, when he came out and talked to me, he was always telling me, like, hey, man, like, if you come here, you can make a huge impact on the team. You'd be, someone to leave a legacy, and, someone, you'll probably be a legend, is what he said. And, I mean, I took his word. He seemed very encouraging. He always pushed me to my limits, especially when it came to the workouts. And even when it came to the 2-hour runs, he'd always made sure if I was okay or if I was hurting or anything, he just made sure that I was doing just fine. So
We got to hear about those 2-hour runs earlier, I believe, in this show.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you doing that?
Yeah, man, it's pretty hard. I'd say it's very hard. Since I've done it last year, I'd say like this year for me, it seemed a little harder. I guess the one thing about Colvin is that he's always teased me about being a little old. Since I'm senior, a little over. Yeah, I just my body's like starting to give out. I guess my body's just not getting as used to it as it was before, and sometimes we just got to work with what we got.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to push through. Even though he teases me, he still like encourages me, like, hey, man, don't let this be a setback. Just keep going, man. So yeah.
What were those runs like for you?
yeah, I'm a mid-distance guy, so
Okay.
we're way out of my element going into this marathon. I usually run like the 3K steeplechase. That's like usually my max out. I don't like to do much more cross country. That's the first you ever see me race, besides the one time I did a half marathon. It was a struggle. I figured out around like mile 14, 15, there's a wall. You genuinely have to find a spot where you are comfortable and know you can hold that pace. And the coaches made sure we were always provided with the water, which kept me going.
Good.
They always had like the goo packets to help you stay energized. There were a few times where I had to stop and I was like gagging from pushing myself so hard, but overall I think they were a good lesson on what I'm going to expect at the marathon and prepare for it.
Last thing, and I've asked all the previous 4 runners the same question at the very end. I'm going to do the same thing with you. Do Caleb first and then Luis to wrap this thing up. What will you say to yourself during the race that'll help you while you're running in about a week and a half from now?
I'm running for my dad.
Oh, wow.
He is a huge runner. He's always wanted to do a marathon, and I'm doing one for him basically right now. And then as soon as I get home, I'm going to start helping him train for one finally. And we're going to run it together next year at the Monumental. So I'm doing it for him so I can tell him that's perfect and we can all do it together. So
Real quick, Luis, that's a flat course. I've heard a lot of people that have ran that before. They say it's very, very flat. So it should be, that's a good one to be your very first one.
Yeah, I did the mini there one year, and it was, well, I've done it twice.
Okay.
And it's smooth sailing. I like it a lot. So.
Yeah. Sorry, Luis. What are some things you'll be telling yourself as you run this for the second year in a row in about a week and a half from now?
Honestly, I'm just going to try and stay relaxed, not really think or say anything to myself until the mental game starts around mile 18 to 20. Mm-hmm. That's when I'll start to say something, because that's when the wall actually hits. It comes hard, and it hits you harder when you reach mile 22. So I'll just be telling myself, just keep pushing 1 mile at a time. And once you see that finish line, just push through, man.
I really appreciate Caleb and Luis for coming on the show, as well as all the marathon qualifiers that have been here over the past couple of weeks, talking about what it means for them to run in the marathon next week, or this week for these gentlemen. This has been the Cougar Cast. It's been fun talking to these athletes, and I look forward to hearing a great report from them after they run in California.